Bratz on the PlayStation 1. Now we gamers know what a PlayStation 1 is, but what is a Bratz? We talked to a local expert.
Doll.
Now apparently Bratz have had some controversies over the years with parents, so I was skeptical on whether or not I would be okay with the brand in my own household, but according to reports they've collaborated with Kylie Jenner and Miley Cyrus, some great role models for children. So this all sounds absolutely lovely, but on the PlayStation 1, that's more Croc's domain. Bratz, I don't know if you can keep up. I'm skeptical. See, I'm what you classify as the frugal gamer. I'm always looking for deals, and before I buy a game, I need to make sure it's worth my time. But then I put on my readers and took a closer look, and Ubisoft? But why didn't you just say so? Honey, go get me my wallet, I need to buy the Day 1 Deluxe Edition of Bratz on the PS1. So is it good? Or well, excuse me, how good is it? Well, it's kind of a cross between Mario Party and DDR. Let me explain. Everyone knows that the best part of Mario Party is the minigames. Well, Ubisoft knows this as well, so it cuts out all the boring stuff like boards, dice, theming, Luigi, and minigames with an S. So what you have here is the game with all the depth of one Mario Party minigame that repeats for about an hour and a half. As for the DDR inspiration, it's a rhythm game where you click the arrows on the screen, and this is all you'll be doing. But there's good story here. You get some good lore about each of the characters read to you, except you can't really hear anything over the sound of these sick beats. Now, I don't believe for a second that Ubisoft's quality control wouldn't have caught this audio mixing issue, so I'm assuming that this is supposed to immerse you like you're in the club where you can't hear a single thing over the music. Now, the characters themselves are very fascinating. Based on their genetic structure, they all appear to be descendants of Tweety Bird, and you learn cool things about them, like Jade is known by the Bratz as the cool cat.
Known to the Bratz as cool cat.
And she's so cool she spells both of those with a K. And Yasmin here is a fan of the bohemian style, which I'm sure the target audience for this game is very familiar with those words. But I think this is a bit of a fashion blunder myself, as you could have gone in the style of the Prussians. Man, this is way cooler. There's also a lot of subtle storytelling. Like if you saw these girls out and about, you'd assume them to be financially well off based on their external appearances with their brand name clothes. But then you look at where they live and it paints a completely different story. You see their chairs are covered in what appears to be leeches. There's no adult supervision around either, just these kids cranking the music loud to try to tune out the voices. There's a very sad and depressing undertone, and the genius of Ubisoft is that they communicate this through the gameplay itself too. It's flashy and stylish with this amazing menu and its sick beats, but there's no substance. The gameplay is empty and hollow, just like the lives of these 5 tragic heroes. It's storytelling that can bring a grown man to tears. The game sucks, yes, but so does life sometimes. Thank you, Ubisoft, for reminding me. But what's most incredible about Ubisoft-type storytelling is that other people can come away with completely different perspectives and interpretations. Marsman57 from GameFAQs says, "It's a fun rhythm game even for seasoned players," where he then writes, "If you're an experienced rhythm player, this game won't be a challenge to beat even in the hardest mode." Thank you, Marsman57. But what about Bounty_Bob? What does he think? Well, he thinks it's a surprisingly good budget-priced dance game, and that it's recommended to pick up, especially if you have a young girl gamer in your household who knows who the heck are Bratz. Thank you, Bounty Hunter Robert. But actually, no thanks, Double B, says Lizanne from the top rope. Listen, in all caps, female gamers are not all little girls into makeup and dancing. Now give us some darn action already. And now we're talking. What year was this? 2002? Send the Bratz to Iraq. I am a female, I am a gamer, I am not a 9-year-old girl, nor do I consider overdressed beauty counter assistants to be my heroes. I therefore get extremely annoyed when developers assume that I will identify with some giant lipstick with big hair. I appreciate that the female market is growing, but they have it all wrong. Girls don't want games like this. I didn't want a game like this back when I really was a 9-year-old girl. At the time I was playing an ancient shoot-'em-ups on my 8-bit Amstrad. Please don't laugh at my age. Girls want pretty much the same games that boys want. It's really quite simple, but sadly the industry as a whole seems to be alien to this fact. This is why games like Bratz exist. No one bothered to ask the female market what they want to play, and it's a huge discredit to what is in every other conceivable way a modern industry. You'd think that working at the cutting edge of leisure technology would mean that the developers didn't have the gender stereotypical views of the 1950s, but it's hard to imagine anything else when you look at cases such as this.
Perfect. Good. Break it down. Break it down. Perfect. Good.
In all seriousness, what I love about the girl games thing whenever it comes up is you always get a tale of two extremes. You get Lizanne, who is on the warpath if games have pink in them, who I find to be extremely hypocritical when they tell girls which games they should and shouldn't enjoy. And then you have the suits over at Ubisoft who think that girls will just play any game with hair accessories in them. Now I would say we should meet in a reasonable middle and just make girly style games that actually don't suck. It's really bizarre when you take a step back, and this is going to sound really stupid until you think about it for a little, but Barbie video games should be AAA titles. The Barbie franchise is bigger than the following: Harry Potter, Marvel, Batman, SpongeBob, James Bond, and even Paw Patrol. Quick side note, Paw Patrol is apparently a bigger franchise than SpongeBob. I am old. And I mean, all of those brands have big games by big developers that don't suck. Except maybe Paw Patrol, I'm out of touch, I don't know. Why there's no big giant landmark Barbie game every year to sell to the ever-increasing girl market is a financial travesty. And I want my daughter to play only the best games ever made because she deserves the best. And yes, I think she deserves the best even if she decides she does like dolls in the color pink. It doesn't really matter what a game looks like as long as the gameplay itself is good. I'm fine with the girly aesthetic if that means my daughters will have more fun. So I've been on the hunt for good girly type games because I'd like to share my hobby with my favorite people in the world, so if you have any recommendations, let me know. But until then, stay hydrated.